life. Focus, Senua. In all the places of the earth, they know that the gods and spirits affect man's path. All the misfortune that befalls man lies at their feet. If you have eyes to see, you see their presence and their power. Keep your eyes open, traveler, and you might see their faces.
For some, the influence of gods and spirits influenced daily life. Senua's original tribe went so far as to sacrifice her own mother to appease the gods. Another raided neighboring tribes and burned their captives alive in order to satiate Surt. Her own lover was a victim of these raids, strung up and executed. On these new Icelandic shores, nothing has changed. Before entering the previous town, Thorgestur commented that the village of Freyslag became victim to the Draugr. Hearing the word Draugr, Senua knows what he means. A certain image fills her mind's eye. Reanimated spirits, barrow dwellers. The stories in the lore stone detail an encounter with one, reminding Senua of their nature. The creature, Glamour, is widely regarded to be a Draugr or revenant according to modern scholars, leaving it apparent why the lore stone began discussing him more at this point in the story. Her mentor told her many stories during their travels together, so she understands the nature of these beasts. Reanimated corpses that usually reside in burial mounds, protecting the treasure of the fallen. Some were reported to bear mystical powers. These creatures were so prevalent in the cultural consciousness that upon burial, the people took steps to ensure these creatures would not arise. Any corpse buried in a vertical position was at risk of returning. The deceased would find their toes or feet bound together before burial to ensure that they could not walk if they did return. When removing a body from a home, a special ritual would sometimes be performed. Since it was thought that a Draugr could return home the same way they left, the people would remove bricks from the wall to create an artificial opening. Then the body would be raised and lowered in various directions. It would be removed through the newly created gap in the wall instead of the door. Once out, the hole would be repaired so that if it did return, it would not be able to get inside, finding itself face to face with a solid wall. Based upon these precautions, the people had great fear of these creatures. So as Senua leaves behind the village of Freyslag and approaches a ritual site, she knows what she will find. Druth's stories about them and Thorgestur's words are all the reminders she needs. The surviving villagers are being executed one by one. In the center of all this is a man strapped to a stake, ready to be incinerated. But something weird happens. Senua has a vision of the man speaking to her before they meet, letting her know he is someone of importance. When she reaches the place, she sees twisted men as the captors, their bodies deformed, abominations. Inhuman monsters that come right from the aforementioned stories and act with a brutality she would expect. It is easy to presume that these are the Draugr from the old tales that Thorgestur mentioned. However, these presumptions would be wrong. These are not literal Draugr. They are only men that act in a similar manner. While the main game does not explain this, Thorgestur's narration confirms where this confusion came from.
They were once human, driven mad by hunger. They ate the flesh of man. We cast them out, called them Draugr after the tales we'd heard. They followed my father's path, but took it so far, too far even for us. But they held on to our ways. Made gods of the giants, revering, not appeasing, worshipping. We feared them, dead, but not dead, unnatural. And they hated us.
Famine arose in this region for reasons that we will get into with future videos. Some tribe attempted to keep the gods at bay with human sacrifice. Others ran and hid among the hills. One particular tribe turned to cannibalism. Due to this inhuman act, Thorgestur's tribe gave them the nickname Draugr. but they were just wicked men who consume flesh and perform fire sacrifice to unseen forces. So why do they appear as twisted monsters to Senua? After Thorgestr claimed that Draugr were responsible and she walked through the ruins of the village, her imagination ran wild. Her psychosis caused her mind's eye to project a fantasy image over their faces, perceiving them as inhuman mythological beasts, rather than simply men with evil hearts. A sort of augmented reality, rather than the hallucinations we have witnessed before when she loses all awareness of her surroundings. During the approach, the narrator discusses her mother, how her singing would banish fear of the dark things in life. From the perspective of a child, an aura of safety from the monsters in the dark is comforting. But the monsters are not always in your dreams. Sometimes they walk around during the day wearing the faces of men. From a literary perspective, the stories tell of vicious beasts, but they symbolically represent destructive behaviors normal people can engage with. The monsters of childhood versus the monsters of adulthood. Senua perceives this evil tribe as fantasy monsters from the stories Druth told her. Who knows what others may witness when looking at the men from the cannibal tribe? It's possible the man bound to the stake sees normal men, but Senua perceives things differently. It is likely the stories influenced how she sees them, but it could also be argued that she sees the inner essence of their evil, the poetry of their actions mirroring that of undead creatures in the old tales. This is an important thing to keep in mind as Senua's journey continues. Regardless of how she sees them, these monsters must be contended with. One by one, she slaughters them and rescues the man. However, their ritual appears to have been completed. The earth begins to crack. Steam emerges. The rock explodes, killing some of the cultists. The pair must escape or be caught up in the destruction. Here, we learn the name of the unseen force this wicked tribe was sacrificing to. Not Surt like in the first game, Iltoiga. But is this fire giant a fiction just like the undead Draugr, or a projection from the stories? Another example of altered perception? This will be a topic for another video entirely. For now, Senua and the new man, Fargrimr, escape safely. They travel back to the outskirts of the village and find Thorgestr alive. From here, the trio travels together to a new settlement. There, a new tale shall be told. But that story will be discussed next time. See you then. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe to receive updates on future uploads. If you would like to help support the channel, a Patreon has been set up and the link is in the description below. Have a great day and peace be with you all.